Look at him, Starling. Tell me what you see.
Oh, he's a white male. Serial killers tend to hunt within their own ethnic groups. He's not a drifter. He's got his own house somewhere, not an apartment.
Why?
What he does with them takes privacy. He's in his 30s or 40s. He's got real physical strength, combined with an older man's self-control. He's cautious, precise, and he's never impulsive. He'll never stop.
Why not?
He's got a real taste for it now, and he's getting better at his work.
We're all drawn to this character of Clarice Starling, to her kind of the human predicament she has of being faced with a lot of evil forces that are greater than she is. And that really centered the book for us, and we never really wanted to dwell on the darker aspects of the story.
The idea of doing any kind of violence, particular picture per se, didn't hold any particular appeal to me, especially violence with women as the subjects. But then you see that yes, that is the background, but it's very much this heroic struggle on the part of Clarice to try to save a life, and that gripped me right away.
He said, I think that this is a feminist piece. And I said, a feminist piece? You know, what are you talking about? And he said, well, you know, this is a chance for a woman to show herself in a world that's really been exclusively inhabited by men for a very long time. And I said, yeah, but what about, you know, all this horrible stuff that this killer does to women?
We knew it was imperative that we honor the horrific nature of the book, because if you didn't, then it would be a watered-down version, and you have to accept the fact that one reason that people find the book so incredibly powerful is because it is so horrific.
Starling got through the photographs all right. Floaters are the worst kind of dead to deal with physically. There's an absolute pathos about them, too, as there often is about homicide victims out of doors. The indignities the victim suffers, the exposure to the elements and to casual eyes, anger you if your job permits you anger. Here they had not even their skins as they lay on littered riverbanks amid the outboard oil bottles and sandwich bags. The cold weather ones largely retained their faces. Starling reminded herself that their teeth were not bared in pain, that turtles and fish in the course of feeding had created that expression. Bill peeled the torsos and mainly left the limbs alone.
Okay, 3 days. Then he shoots them, skins them, and dumps them. Each body in a different river. The water leaves us no trace evidence of any kind. That's Frederica Bimmel, the first one. Her body was the only one he took the trouble to weight down, so actually she was the third girl found. After her, he got lazy.
You had to know and you had to recognize that these bodies weren't just somebody we were talking about, that they were actually there, and that they were people, that they were daughters of, that they had graduation photos and dogs and all sorts of things, that they were real, substantial human beings. I wanted to make sure that that happened, and I obviously didn't want to make a slasher movie, and he wasn't interested in it either, so I never really worried about that.
It's possible to do a picture that is about violence and not make it about getting off on the violence. And that was a concern of ours all the way through making the picture, and that's why there are so many reflective surfaces where you see violence. That's why we took a lot of time, money, and care to do still photographs of the victims rather than trying to see Bill actually do physical harm.
It's a matter of keeping the story focused on Jodie's character and on what she's seeing and feeling. I'm not so interested in seeing it myself as in seeing her reaction to it.
As strongly as I feel about the Jodie Forster character and the feminist aspect, that's not what the press has been picking up. The press has been picking up Hannibal Lecter. I mean, it's Anthony Hopkins who has his face plastered all over magazine stands. So it's still being read in that sense like a great, I mean, this is the successor to Jason and Michael and Norman Bates and all those kind of scary characters.
Scary or not, Lecter has become an anti-hero of the 90s, whose killer charm has won over American audiences.
Good evening, gentlemen.
I didn't realize that Lecter was going to have the kind of incredible impact on people that he does. And although it's there on paper in Thomas Harris's book, a great, delicious character, and Ted really honored that character in his script.
Enabling Anthony Hopkins to seduce the audience from within the narrow confines of a tiny cell created a challenge for the film's designer.
In the book, he's got bars, and he's also got a net behind the bars. And the implication, of course, is that he is so bad that bars aren't enough, that if you get too close to the bars, he does terrible things to you.
On the page, that was great because it didn't intrude on the reader's ability to put them right up against each other, but visually it was just a terrible handicap. We were upset about the fact that we had extended dialogue scenes, and we were concerned about being able to see both eyes of both characters at all times.
Good morning.
Dr. Lecter, my name is Clarice Starling. May I speak with you?
You're one of Jack Crawford's, aren't you?
I am, yes.
May I see your credentials?
Certainly.
It would look like a prison movie, and it would evoke all these other scenes that we've all seen throughout the course of our movie-going lives, and it would deprive these encounters of the unique, special nature that they were entitled to by virtue of how intense the characters and the scenes were.
I just, at that point, remembered that in banks and certain liquor stores around town, they have these big plexiglass walls that they've put up to dissuade people from robbing them. And they're thick, they're like thick plexi.
You use Evian skin cream. And sometimes you wear lead at home. But not today.
It also brought a bit of modernity into this medieval dungeon-like space. The inspiration for that actually came from a photograph of the Nuremberg war criminals where they were housed prior to trial. And it's a very, very powerful black and white photograph. And again, I don't know why, but something about that triggered something in me, and I said, this is the depths, this is the very lowest level inside this place.
Let me have the file and I'll tell you what I think.
Michael Mann imprisoned his Lecter in a very different cell, shooting these sequences on location in a postmodernist museum.
I chose white, and I chose hard verticals and hard horizontals, and the superimposition of the same bars imposing on Lecter's face as they are on Graham's. So we did this with tremendous precision. I made everybody crazy on the set, because when I cut from Graham to Lecter, I didn't want the bars to move.
You want to know how he's choosing them, don't you?
I thought you might have some ideas.
Why should I tell you?
You get to see the file in this case. And there's another reason.
Pray tell.
I thought you might be curious to see if you're smarter than the person I'm looking for.
Then by implication, you think you're smarter than me since you caught me.
No. I know that I'm not smarter than you.
Then how did you catch me?
You had disadvantages.
What disadvantages?
You're insane.
If I want someone as mad as Lecter, and I want him contained, then I want him contained in absolutely pristine, white, rational space.
You want the scent? Smell yourself.
I looked at Manhunter and I thought, oh dear, well, you know, that's a great way to go. Also, you know, this very super high-tech kind of white, you know, unbelievably antiseptic approach. But that didn't work for this, because this is a sort of dark, wet, sort of hideous, drippy kind of story.
Why do you think he removes their skins, Agent Starling?
thrill me with your acumen.
It excites him. Most serial killers keep some sort of trophies from their victims.
I didn't.
No. No, you ate yours.
You send that through now.
Another inspiration for the look of both Lecter and his cell were a series of paintings by British artist Francis Bacon.
Oh, Agent Starling, you think you can dissect me with this blunt little tool?
There was something about Francis Bacon's work that I kept thinking about every time I thought about this character. I showed these to Jonathan, and he really said, wow, you know, I don't know how you translate this to the screen, but, you know, if this is going to inspire you, go right ahead.
What do you make of these?
Different configuration than the other victims.
But finding the right look for the crucial autopsy scene proved even more difficult.
When I started to work on the film, I was very nervous about doing it. I was very unhappy about the idea that I was delving into something so dark. And I also had this feeling that, you know, I know it's not true, but sometimes if you dabble in this kind of stuff, you can attract it somehow.
When it came to the more horrifying things that happened in the story, we didn't want to make people physically ill, and we didn't want to upset them in a way that transcends the kind of upsettedness we bargain for when we go to a frightening movie.
I wasn't so much concerned about how much you saw as how it was portrayed. Because I think that in a movie that deals with violence and deals with why people find violence as a coping mechanism, to avoid the topic at all, in fact, I think is really to shy away from it and to not show it as gruesome, horrible, violent, ugly stuff, I think is a little bit irresponsible, actually.
In scenes like this, Demme makes the audience identify with Clarice's point of view.
Operating on the premise that every scene she's in is a scene of great importance, let's show exactly what she sees in every single scene.
She's got something in her throat.
This is probably the most use of POV that's in recent years anyway. And we wondered if audiences might find it distracting or what have you, but we decided to commit to it because we thought the potential was there to really up the emotional ante quite a bit. It's an easy shot to set up because all you have to do is watch what Jodie does in the rehearsal, and the cameraman's watching that, and now it's his turn to duplicate what she saw.
If I have like 20 things to concentrate on, if I have to hit this mark and do that and know this and move my eye here and match that, it's like a right side, left side brain thing. You know, my right side is so busy and I can't be bothered with the other side. You know? So it makes me feel less self-conscious, actually, when I have a lot of technical things to do to master.